Hello, YouTube. It's your boy here, HTJ. Man, we got to talk Israel Adesanya. Race baiter extraordinaire. Man, I could not be more disappointed with this fool. Let's start off with this. When Israel Adesanya came into the UFC, I was his biggest fan. I said that the level of striking he was going to bring to the UFC is unprecedented. And that everybody that thought it would just be so easy to take Israel down to the ground and have their way with them, that just wasn't going to happen because of the elite striking game. I predicted he would be a champion, and of course, he became a champion. I was a huge fan. Well, that's been changing for quite some time. And I'm going to tell you, after the last couple of months, maybe even year, I'm just totally, it all really started with the gyno Diddy against Paulo Costa. All of that trash talking about Paulo Costa, who is, by the way, not once failed a USADA drug test, to my knowledge. And then he shows up to the ring like that. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And I'll tell you this: his next fight, he'd had. Oh, whoa, sorry, that's Nico. He didn't have near the muscle mass. Okay. Uh oh, don't knock stuff over, buddy. Then we have his fight with Pajeda, the first fight, which I believe some of that muscle mass returned. That's not the point. The point is, I was a huge fan of Israel Adesanya, and his behavior over this whole DDP thing has been it's been disgusting to say the least. Now, I'm not a guy that wants to ban anyone's speech. I mean, hey, let Izzy say what he wants to, because now, we all know. We all know he's a piece of trash. Well, at least I know that. So let's take a look at Izzy's comments concerning, right, what last happened. So here we go.
I've never questioned him as an African because, yeah, you were born in Africa, South Africa. Of course, you're an African. I've never questioned that. But who the is this cracker to tell me who the I
All right, we got to stop right there. Who the duck is this cracker? Look, y'all, again, I'm all about freedom of speech, but it really shows us. I mean, if we had any doubts about the first ever Chinese champion, as Sean Strickland would say, well, middleweight Chinese champion, you know, I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, if you saw it, you saw it. He walked in the ring just dropping in bombs and cracker and this, that, and the other. Absolutely ridiculous.
am, who the Kamaru is, who the Ngannou is.
And now he brings in Kamaru and Ngannou, which I really did not appreciate the first time. Um, Dricus du Plessis spent a month making the media rounds explaining to people like Errol Hawani and whoever else, Submission Radio, all these guys, that he never said Adesanya wasn't African. Those words never came out of his mouth. So I'm not going to go into the whole defense for DDP, because he did a wonderful job explaining exactly, I knew you were going to touch something, you bad kitty. Did a wonderful job explaining exactly why he said what he said and blah, blah, blah. Let's get back to where we were. Oh, yeah. Let me finish the thought. And even Karo Usman, that dumb fool, he chimed in too right after them. Oh, yeah, Africa, blah, blah, blah. But you never even saw the comment. You couldn't have heard what the man said because he didn't say anything like that. That's Izzy, turning around the man's words, taking the man, what the man said, and just totally flipping it around. And as opposed to Carl Usman being a man and going and seeing what Drick has said himself, he just went off of Izzy's words. Now, I have yet to hear Ngannou make a response about this. I could be wrong. Did I miss that, y'all? Somebody please tell me. But as of now, I want to thank Ngannou for keeping himself above the fray and not falling in this dumb trap. But here we go. We got Israel calling people crackers, dropping the N-bomb, calling them the N-bomb, right? And also just dragging other people into the argument with him for what? I don't know.
I've never questioned that. But who the fuck is this cracker to tell me who the fuck I am, who the fuck Kamaru is, who the fuck Ngannou is? I'm like, are you dumb? As a product of colonization, you're trying to tell me who the fuck I am.
Is he dumb? I don't know what his education level is. I don't know what DDP's education level is, but he certainly carries himself as an educated, respectable man. I mean, I love watching the guy's interviews and hearing what he has to say. Much like I used to really like listening to Izzy years ago, but that's all gone now.
You can take the boy out of Africa, but you can never take the Africa out of the boy.
Says the first ever middleweight Chinese champion.
I never ever did that to him. I never discredited him as an African. I just, okay, there you are. Cool. You want to make a fight? Cool. But the fact that as a cracker to tell me who the I am, that pissed me off.
There he goes again. Cracker colonizer. Y'all, this is the most blatant use of race baiting. I mean, this is just, I guess it's par for the course now, man. This is just what people do when I guess they disagree. I mean, we're just at that place, and it's so disgusting, despicable. Um, you know, I started in mixed. I'm sorry, excuse me. I started in martial arts when I was about 13, maybe 14 years old, and the first discipline I ever got into was Taekwondo. I did that for about 2.5 years. Other than that, I trained off and on for years, basically my whole life in jujitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, and of course Taekwondo was my base. But I can tell you with all certainty. But by the way, I have been in the ring 3 times myself. Now I'm 0-3. I didn't say I was a good fighter, and those were all amateur fights. By the way, you can watch one of my fights. It's Joe Wordy versus Scott Cox. If you YouTube that, you can see it. Everybody can see me get knocked out. Fine, great, whatever. That's actually something we should take a look at because that was a really strange time in my life, and I should not have been in that ring, but I loved it. So whatever. That was the last fight I had. I think that was 2010, 2011, whatever it was. Anyway, um, I'm just saying all that to say, as a mixed martial artist, as somebody that loves the martial arts my entire life, I mean, my first introduction to the martial arts was Chuck Norris, when I was probably 5 years old. So Chuck Norris, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, I mean, Sammo Hung, the list goes on and on and on. I could name so many more, but I'm not going to. It's just been a huge part of my life. And I can tell you with all certainty that when it comes to any combat sport, whether it's bare knuckle boxing, whether it's boxing, kickboxing, MMA, whatever, it has nothing to do with skin tone, race, ethnicity, where you're from in the world. No, no, no. All that matters inside a ring, any ring, is who's better that night. And that doesn't have anything to do with skin color, as I said, or what continent you're from, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing. It's just about two men getting in the ring and figuring out who's better on that night. Absolutely disgusting from Izzy.
And that's why he's my next fight. Because I don't want to fight anyone else. That this one pisses me off.
Let's go. What's up? Let's go. Yeah. What's up? Get you gonna do? Yeah, my African brother. Yeah, my African brother. What's up?
I'm African, but I ain't no brother of yours, son.
Let's go. You my for real.
Now, what you didn't see in the rest of that clip, and I think Dricus Duplessis did an amazing job. He actually turned his back and walked away from Izzy. I mean, that to me was probably the biggest insult that he could have given to Israel Adesanya. And man, I hope we can all see exactly what type of person Izzy is. I mean, it's not even. I really think Izzy's going off the rails, y'all. I really think he's having some problems. We of course know that he had the ex-girlfriend thing, or still has that going on, which I'm not going to comment on that. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, and that's his personal life. So I'll leave that alone. But when you get into the octagon, and when you just put your stuff out like this, listen, I can comment on that. And again, it's disgusting. I was the biggest Israel Adesanya champion. I always wanted to promote him and just say how great he was, and how honest he was. But I really think we're seeing this guy crack a little bit, and that's a shame. He is a great talent, a great fighter, but the words that are coming out of his mouth, the things he is saying and doing, talking about colonizer and cracker. I mean, y'all, I'm sorry. Civilizations have been conquering civilizations, other civilizations, as long as the world has been around. Now, I'm not going to say whether that's wrong or right, but it's the way of the world. So, it's absolutely crazy to me that all this is going on, and that I don't expect Dana White or the UFC to silence Israel Adesanya. That's not at all what I want. I believe in freedom of speech, and I believe let them talk. Let everybody talk. We can find out who they really are. So I think I've made my point here. I don't want to get in any more on Izzy. It's just a waste of time. Ladies and gentlemen, before the Robert Whitaker fight, which I will do a breakdown on that as well, because I said I would, because I was about the only person on the planet that saw that coming. At least I feel like. I mean, my best guy, shout out to PC, man. We argued about that for weeks, and every analyst was picking Izzy. So we'll break down that fight, and it's important to break down. However, I gotta say, I just keep losing my trend. Like little Nico just keeps coming up here. Anyhow, we'll do that breakdown. But I said before that fight to my guy PC, I said, look, he will walk through Whitaker. He's gonna get this done. But the next fight, Adesanya, I'm not so sure. I think that's the fight that I think he loses. A little foreshadowing here for you. After what he did to Robert Whitaker, I'm going to change that tune. And now, after what's been said the last few months and Saturday night after the fight, I think this is going to go a little bit differently. I think I'm going to change my mind. But we'll get on to all that in the breakdown of DDP versus Robert Whitaker. What a glorious fight. By the way, let's not take anything away from Robert Whitaker. He's been a stellar individual, a great fighter. I'm a huge fan. And hey, you know what? Everybody loses, every now and again. Don't give me this Khabib crap. Don't give me that crap. Don't want to hear it. Don't make me make a video on Khabib. Don't make me do it. Anyway, all right, y'all. Rambling a little bit too much. Just had to get that out, and here soon, be looking for my breakdown of DDP versus Robert Whitaker. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for listening. Really appreciate you guys. So does Nico. Right. There we go. We can wrap this one up, man. As always, be good. Be safe. Boom.